Hey guys, it's been a very long time. Welcome back to Abigail's Niche. I'm sure you missed this lovely face. My name is Abigail. I'm still the Abigail to the niche. Welcome. So today I decided to do a film, a sit down and talk film because it's been a long while. I think the last sit down and film video I did should probably be, oh my god, my intro. Yeah, I think that's the last sit down and talk video I have actually done. And I said it's proper that I actually do another sit down and talk video, okay, so that we can get to know each other better. It's just me, you, and your screen right now, okay. My birthday is in a few days, by the way. Am I excited? Yeah, probably. I'm grateful. Am I feeling like there are things I'm supposed to have or have done that I have not? Yeah, a little. In fact, not a little. Yeah, there are things that are actually making me feel like, underachieve. But I have to say that God has been gracious, and there are a lot of things that He has done for me that I am most grateful for. That is actually outweighing me feeling like I am underachieved. Okay, let's not blab too much. Today's video, I want to give you a general life update. Like I said, my birthday is in a few days, and I have been sitting down, meditating a lot. Even though work has not been allowing me do this meditation the way I ought to, but every little time I have these days, I sit down and I squeeze time and actually try to think over life. And yeah, I think it's actually necessary I do this video. And I think I'm going to title it Wholesomely Single. Yeah. In this video, I'm going to be encapsulating, is there an English word like that? Okay, I'm actually going to be, touching as much as possible everything singlehood so far for me. And there's a reason for that. Yeah, there's a reason for that I'm not going to let out right now, but in the nearest future. We're going to be talking about my relationship with God so far. It's definitely top on the list. Then we're going to talk about heartbreaks, we're going to talk about crushes, we're going to talk about loneliness, finances, desires, temptations. Yeah, my own personal journey. That's what I want to do. And happy birthday to me. So before I go on in this video, I'm going to be dropping three slides, three code slides in this video that I want you all to go through, and I want to hear your take on it. Read the slides, the quotes on the slides, and let me know what your personal views are on those quotes about singlehood. Yeah, I'm going to give you a minute for that. Before we continue, in case this is your first time you're seeing this lovely face, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. My birthday is in a few days, like I said. I'm going to be rubbing that in a lot. My birthday is in a few days. It will be the most honorable gift for me if you subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and like this video. Watch my videos. Don't just stop at subscribing alone. Watch my videos, and your comments are very important to me. Okay, I'll give you time to watch the slides right now, and then let me hear your take. Welcome back. I'm sure you read the quotes on the slides already. Yeah, like I said, I want your feedbacks, I want your personal views, I want your opinions about this slide. So we're going to dive right into our video, just because this video is not about the slides or the quotes or just other things. We're going straight into this video today. So I said I'm going to discuss everything so far, general life update, wholesomely single, um, how my life has been so far, right? Um, Let me start with my relationship with God. Oh my God, I'm literally having um, a little bit of goosebumps right now. My journey with God so far has been an amazing one. Um, I don't have regrets whatsoever, and this is actually not me trying to be sentimental or cliche right now, but the truth is I actually have no regrets whatsoever in my journey with God so far. So how did this all start? I'm sure a lot of people have big large stories as to their first encounter with God. For some, it was love at first sight. Some were born into it, so there are no um, um, tremendous encounters for others. Okay, they are, like I said, they're just born into it and they stick with the religion their parents have offered to them. Mine is actually no different at first. I was born into a Christian family. My both parents are very godly. My mom is very godly. Yeah, there's a reason I'm saying my mom is very godly. My dad is actually also a very godly man, and we were raised in the fear of God and in the reference of Him. But as we are all later going to discover in life, it's good to start that way, but that is not what the original intentions for God about our relationship with Him was supposed to be. So yeah, born into a good Christian home, raised in the fear and reverence of God, I grew up to know that God is important, and I think that was pretty much all for me. Um, God should be placed first in anything. So I would pray to God when I'm about eating. The first thing I do before eating is prayer. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is prayer. And the last thing I do or did before going to bed was definitely prayer. So those were the basics that being born into a Christian family actually presents to you. But of course, we all know that our relationship with God is much more deeper than that, and what God desires that we have with Him should be much more deeper than that. Okay, so yeah, I was a Sunday school girl. Like most of us would have started out, I have always been a Sunday school girl, and my first turnaround point actually was this fateful Sunday. I was in church, I was in Sunday school, and there's this Sunday school teacher of mine who is no longer in our church. A very wonderful woman that I will always remember till I leave this earth. She came that fateful day and was preaching on, I think, living your life for God or something like that. And now this woman's message was not a Joshua Selman standard message, but you know those people that preach and they are taking it in such a way that there's no charisma to it. You know how we young people are enthralled by charisma when preaching and the rest. There was nothing like that. It was just pretty much basic. Live your life for God, don't sin, obey your parents, those stuff. But that fateful day, it was piercing so much inside. I remember devoting all my attention. I think it was in 2007. Yeah, no, or 2005 thereabout. I remember devoting all my attention, all my focus as I listened to every single thing that she was saying. Yeah, 27. Yes, it was 27. So after she finished preaching, she now said that if you want to rededicate your life back to God, you want to surrender your life completely back to God, you should stand up. Okay, I think I missed the date. Sorry, guys. It was actually 2-4, not even 2-5 or 2-7. Sorry, it was 2-4. So if you want to rededicate your life back to God, you stand up, and yeah, few persons stood up. Then she said, if you want to, I think I stood up too, if you want to give, if you want to become a Sunday school teacher like herself, so that you continue the work of God in the children's department, you raise your hands up. And I did, with a variety of others who I can't exactly call them my friends, but I think we're a bit close then. So we all raised our hands up. And she prayed for us, led us to Christ afresh, confession prayers, and the rest of it. But then she came close to me after the prayers and whispered that she would love to see me after church. And I was kind of wondering why, out of the many persons that stood up, she singled me out. Well, I didn't give it much thought. So after that prayer, after church that day, I waited for her back in class, and she came to me, wrote my name down, and handed it over to the other teacher, our head teacher, and then said to me that she was so happy that I stood up, and that she believes that God is going to use me greatly in the department, and that she was really happy, saying that my father had always been a man committed in church, serving God, keeping aside his age, and has always been an ardent worker or worshiper of God, and as well as my mom. So I thanked her. I didn't give it much thought like the rest of us. And later that year, we were graduated from the children's church to the adult church. Okay, so I think in 2007, one fateful day, after I had forgotten that whole vow that I'd be a children teacher, all those things we did, I was summoned back to the children's department. I was summoned back to the children's department, and just me. I remember I was angry, I was mad, like, why would they call me? And I was among this set of persons that actually left, that we actually graduated to the big church. I was the one that left last because, I don't know, for one reason or the other, I lingered in the children's church. But so when I finally left, coming back to summon me, it was annoying for me. I didn't really even give much thought to the fact that we made a vow or anything like that. And besides, the woman was not really coming to church. So when she now summoned me back to the children's church, not just her and the host of teachers. I remember I was sitting in their middle, and they started saying, have you forgotten your vow? Have you said? And in my mind, I'm like, who asked me to even stand up that day? And also in my mind, I said, after all, I was not the only one. Why am I the one that is being bugged? Well, long story cut short, I was summoned back to the children's church as a children teacher student, whatever that means. So after that, I was enrolled in teachers training, CEF, Children Evangelical Fellowship, and tutored by the one and only Uncle Dan Leckout. Shout out to this man. This man has actually been a child missionary from when I was a little girl until I became a one-on-one student with him. So after that, another journey opened to me entirely. Okay, I started understanding other sides of God. That teacher's training was another amazing journey. I met people who were ready to do anything for God, irrespective of them not being recognized. You see, being the children's department, you definitely know whatever you're doing, you're just doing it because you love God, because this is service to God, and you would zero the possibility of ever being recognized from your mind. In fact, sometimes they will blame the children's fault on you, even though you're not being paid. So meeting those people actually strengthened my faith, and I loved my decision to, return back to the children's department all the more. I was actually the youngest person in that training. I remember very well. I was really young, but I had always had a mature mind, so it was very difficult, for you to pinpoint houses. The only thing was, of course, my face. And a few other persons that knew my age. So after the entire experience in the children department, which I am still proudly still in the children's department. That's over 12 years now. Well, wow, this mommy. After that, I had an experience in my early puberty age. Yeah, while all of this was going on, I had an experience in my early puberty age that I don't want to share right now for good reasons. Waiting the right and appropriate time before I talk about it. And that experience rocked my world, really. Yeah, it rocked my world, and I'm going to share it one day. It didn't rock my world. It did a lot to me, Sha. It did a lot. And so it took me back to zero levels. My whole life was a mess till after secondary school and up to my first year in the university. When I gained admission, or prior to my gaining admission, I remember telling God that I wanted that admission that year. I didn't get admission immediately after secondary school, but I think the following year or 2 years later, and I told God that I wanted admission in that particular school because I was going to look for him. So when the admission came, I told my sister that I'm not going to school because of academics. I was going to school because I was going to find God. And yeah, when I went to school, that was actually what I went to do. So by the time I got to school, like I said, my life was already in a mess. I was suffering from depression, chronic depression. I was suffering from mood swings. I was sad. I was confused. My life had no bearing whatsoever, and I had nobody to talk to that I felt was ever going to understand what I was going through. I couldn't talk to my parents, I couldn't talk to my sister, and I think I made an attempt to actually talk to someone and it failed woefully. Alright? It failed woefully. I'm going to do a detailed account on everything much later, but I'm just going to paraphrase right now. So when I got to school in my 100 level, I was fasting a lot. I didn't really understand what that meant, but I would just fast. After lectures, immediately I'm not coming back to the hostel with others. I'm going straight to chapel, the school chapel. I'll spend hours there praying. Sometimes I even had lectures immediately after. So as I'm finishing from the school chapel, I'm returning back to school, to my host to my lecture theater to receive more lectures before returning to the hostel. I continued like that. There was this hunger, and thank God for Night First, I found a place to actually, satisfy my hunger a bit. But I wanted more. I wanted someone to hear me out. I wanted someone to, talk to me, and I wasn't finding anybody like that. It continued for a long time, until almost my 200 level, or actually my 200 level. No, almost my 200 level. Last semester of my 200 level, while I was writing my final exams, I was already losing it. One fateful night, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't rest. I was restless throughout that day. 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I was still awake. I remember my roommate was even asking me, Abigail, what's wrong? What's up with you? And I said nothing. I was fine. But I was crying. I was just asking God for mercy. I was just asking God for help. And so around 3:30 a.m., I heard a cry, an outcry, a prayer outcry, or an announcement. Um, Fresh Fire, Fresh Fire Summit. It's time. And I'm like, okay, that's new. I stood up from my bed. This senior roommate of ours was reading a bunk, so I asked her, "Oh, Sister Mary, what's up? What's happening?" Oh, she said, "Yes, there's this monthly prayer meeting they used to have. It's another time for the prayer meeting. Have I not heard of it?" And I said, "No, I have not." So he said, "Okay." She called the name of the person hosting it and said, "It's very good." So that they used to waste time. I'm like, "Okay, I'm going." "You are going?" I said, "Yes, I'm going." She said, "It's 3:30 a.m. Everywhere is that." I said, "I don't care." At that point, I was feeling if I die, I die. It was better than spending every night crying on my bed and having no solution. So she was still trying to, talk me out of going or waiting till it was much brighter before I go. And then all of a sudden, the rest of my roommates woke up and they said, "So Abigail, are you really going?" I said I was going, and they said, "Okay, if you are going, we are going with you." And that's how I'm going from every part of the bed in my room. So my roommates all got up. In fact, one of the Muslim girls in my room actually stood up and said, "What's the fuss about this whole I'm going?" She too, she's going. So that's how everybody stood up from the room and dressed up, and we went to the school chapel for the meeting. Immediately we got to the meeting and prayers was ongoing. I couldn't even pray. I was just praying and crying, but I felt this sense of I was at home. I was already home. So I flowed and I continued praying, and then I met this man. He came up. He was introduced as, you know, um, Pastor Hassan, and yeah, they started. He started preaching. Oh my God! From when he opened his mouth to preach, I knew at that point that I had found what I was looking for. The depth. He reached down, deep into my core, and it was as if burdens were being lifted off me. And then he led us to when he led us to pray. I prayed the whole of me out. 9 a.m. I refused to go for lectures that day. 10 a.m. we were still there. My roommates came and whispered to me, "Oh, they want to go, they will miss lecture." I said, okay, no problem. See you later in the room. They could not go. They said, "Are you not going?" I said, "No, I'm missing lectures. I'm missing every damn thing today." And exams were already approaching then. So they also stayed back. And I remember we prayed from that 4 a.m. till 12 noon or thereabout before he rounded up prayers. When he was done, we're done with prayers. They asked us to stay behind and announce his wedding thereabout, and also told us to clean the place. I stood back to clean the place so that I could, find an opportunity to talk to him, but I didn't find the courage, and yeah, that's how I left. Well, long story cut short, I kept looking for opportunities to actually talk to him, but I never found any. I always chickened out of it. Until this fateful morning, I was having the same urge, unrest, unsettlement inside of me. I couldn't sleep that night. I woke up early that morning around 5 a.m., dressed up and went to the chapel. There's this thing I usually used to do then, sunrise with Jesus. I will get up very early in the morning and I will go to the chapel, and then the church was still uncompleted. There's a spot I usually take chairs to stay upstairs, and I will watch the sunrise and I'll pray and I'll sing. I just love on God. Okay, so that fateful day, I wanted to go do my usual sunrise with Jesus, but I couldn't. My mind was in a state of mess. I was crying. So I just went into the church chapel proper. I didn't go to the Young Obliterated building, and I just laid on the altar crying very vehemently. I was crying and said, "God, look, at this point, if you don't do anything about my life, just take my life. And while I was saying that, for the very first time in my life, I heard the voice of God very loud. And what did he say? He said to me, go to my servants, and mention the name of the pastor that I met at the fasting Fresh Fire Summit. He said, go to my servants. I have a message for you. I have a word for you from him. Wow. Immediately I heard the voice of God. Peace flood down my entire person, and I got up. I had this joy bubbling in my heart. I cleaned my face. I took my Bible and my journal, and I left. And I went back to my hostel. And immediately I got to the hostel, I didn't enter my room directly. I went to the block before mine to see one of his daughters, and I asked her how I could see him. She told me it was not going to be easy seeing him, but at the end of the day, she ended up giving me his number that I call before I see him. So I took his number. I went to lectures that day. I told my friend about it, and immediately after lectures, we came outside and we called. The moment I called him, he mentioned my name. I remember I ended the call because my friend was like, have you spoken with him before? I said, no, in my life, I have never. So she said, call again, maybe I'm mistaken. That's how I repeated the call, and I called, and he just said, hey, it's just not you, it's not Abigail. I said, it's okay, come to this place, I'm waiting for you. I went with my friend, long story cut short, and he talked to me. My friend refused to enter, by the way. She said, anybody that will call your name before seeing you will start telling her secret sins. She was not cut out for that. So, yeah, we ended up talking, and he gave me the exact words that God wanted him to talk to me. Today, that person is my spiritual father. He has helped me along my spiritual journey from that point till this point. And that was the beginning of my turnaround with God. Well, since then, it has not been an easy journey. God took me through various experiences with him. I have no regrets whatsoever. And every day I see myself growing. I see myself evolving into that woman that God has created me to be. I see myself fulfilling purpose. I see myself loving him all the more. So yeah, I think that's a brief, not exactly brief, not so brief recap of how my journey with God has been so far. Yeah, and I'm going to stop here, this very first part of the video. The next part of this video is definitely going to be my relationship with man. Yes, M-A-N, not God this time. I am going to see you in that next video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to comment. I want you to share your story your journey with God so far. Let other Christians benefit, let other growing Christians get to know how far your journey with God has been so far. All right, I'll see you in my next video. Yeah, bye.